Okay, and thank you, and we're in, we're live. Thank you for joining us tonight with Women's Talk, a roundtable discussion. We're going to start tonight with considering the family that has lost their young one, the 23-year-old that was tragically killed today. And you all are mothers and women, and I'm sure this mother and family is going through a hard time, so we're going to consider them tonight.
Condolences. Absolutely.
So tonight we have a all-star cast of middle age. They call themselves young, between the ages of 35 and 45. And the demographics have changed, and we're going to talk about women's issues that pertain to this age group. Let's identify yourself. We'll start with the lady that I spoke to.
Say less.
I'm Abby Rogers. Good evening, I'm Abby Rogers.
Good evening, Natalina Chumley. Good evening, Alicia Williams.
Good evening, Monique Cook.
Good evening, Tamisha Smith.
Good evening, my name is Judante Hurdle.
Naughty Kitty Bermuda.
Good evening. My name's Tiana Sotis.
So ladies, let's just start. Let's jump right in. If your age bracket of being 40, in the 40s, would you consider yourself being an independent woman?
Mid-30s.
Oh, my independent.
Yes, first and
definitely.
foremost, I'm not in my 40s, so you're going to cut that out. Thank you. And then this morning, me and Natalina were having a brief conversation regarding this question, and I had asked her, when we talk about independent as a woman, are we talking financially, or are we talking about as women in whole? So are we talking mentally, spiritually, emotionally, your general well-being? Then no, I'm not. Financially, yes. Financially, I take care of myself. I do what I'm going to do. But emotionally, I depend on my friends and family. Spiritually, I depend on the higher power that, I lean on. My well-being, I depend on Monique, like my my health. But you know what I mean? So no, I don't think anybody could say that they're independent, because there's some parts of your life where you must depend on others or something.
Absolutely.
That's a great answer.
Absolutely. I wasn't even thinking of that, because I would definitely say I'm 100% independent. I would definitely say that. I wasn't not thinking about my well-being and depending on friends and family to get me through emotional support. I'm still going to stand on business and stand by my answer. I'm fully independent. I depend on my friends too, but 100% independent of her.
Like Tiana said, we were talking about it this morning, and I agree. I feel that I'm very independent too, but I also feel that, and I hope this is no offense to nobody, but culturally we've been raised to be independent as well. And I find with other demographics and ethnicities, it seems to be just us as a colored people that seem to be independent. I have to be independent, and especially for the women, where it kind of, in my opinion, lowers the vibration of the man's role. And as independent as I am, I don't want to be, like I don't want to be independent. I would love for a person to, just take the lead, and me be able to trust it, that it's, going to be a better lead than what I can take.
I'm going to spin it right off, because at one point I did feel that I was independent. Last year I came to the conclusion that I didn't want to be independent anymore. I wanted to live the soft girl era. I'm in a relationship. What am I in this relationship for? Why do I feel that I have to do everything when I have somebody to support me? So I did draw the reins back on certain things that I was doing, because I was with this man for a reason, to let him lead me and just fall underneath his wing. And I'm okay to be submissive. Yeah. So I'm completely not in, I'm independent. I can do this by myself. Yeah, I can, but I don't want to. So I choose not to. And I let him do what he needs to do. And if I need to support him in any way, then I will. We support each other, but I came off of that. I could do it by myself. I don't want to.
That's great. Love that.
my arm, girl. Let me get some of that
So that was very filling what everyone had to say, and for me, I would take the flip on to say, as far as me being and classifying myself as independent to myself as Tamisha, I look at the things I pour into myself, for myself, on my own. Then I look at my support team giving me that support for me to maintain the balance that I already have. So if I'm balanced in spirituality, I'm balanced in my mental health, I'm balanced in my physical life, my finances, my support team helps me already keep the balance that I already have. They help me maintain it. So when Ms. Soltis brought up the point of also having your friends, and she doesn't totally look at herself as independent, I had to kind of switch around my answer and my notes. Don't mind my book tonight.
All right.
Don't call him a soldier.
All right. Yeah, watch the bottom down here. It's really powerful.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, independence with me has come with growth. I find myself very independent. I'm not where I am, want to be. I have a lot of goals to still battle and achieve within myself. But when it comes down to handling things on my own and not having to ask for anything or anyone to do anything or depend, and I think that's my number one. Number one issue, having to depend on other people. My mama always raised me to do it on your own. If she used to hear me on the phone asking people, come pick me up or can you do this, it was an issue for her. Like, you need to take care of yourself. People shouldn't be doing things for you. So that part of independence, I don't want to take it away. I do want to maintain, even in a relationship. The man could be the head of the household, but I still want to maintain my role. I don't so much want to live the soft girl era because that's not who I am. So, I don't want to water it down. I want to stay the strong, dominant woman that I am. And then I'm ready to be submissive and let him lead. That's fine. But ultimately, I want to stay slaying my goals and being aggressive and achieving everything that I want to achieve. And that comes with being 100% independent because no one gets you from point A to point B. You may have assistance. You may be working with someone that can open up some doors. But ultimately, financially, emotionally, physically, sleepless nights, you are the one achieving those goals. And I'm not ready to let that go before let anybody take that from me.
That's a good point. It is a good point. But I got it. You don't want to live in the soft car. And I totally got where you were coming from, where you have so many goals. And I feel I reached the goals that I set out to do. So now I'm okay to sit back and relax and just kind of let life plan out because I was so heads on, had my children, let me do this. In school with just a small toddler, just so many things where I had to be on my own. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm putting in work. I'm good where I am right now. So I totally see where, because I was that person at one point. And it's okay to depend on people. We're always going to need somebody. And it also comes off where what Natalita mentioned was our society, we was always raised as be independent, don't rely on anybody. And then you jumped in and said the same thing. So that's how we've always been conditioned. So until we can kind of step back into our own thoughts and really see what we want for ourselves, then we can make the decision as whether we want to continue that way or if we want to stop and address another lifestyle. And that's what we all, that's why the journey that we're on in life, we're all going different separate ways, but we could all come together as a collective because we see things differently, but we understand each other.
And just to touch back on that, me and Tiana were actually talking about that earlier today as well. We want the independence. We want the soft girl. Let me speak for myself. I want the soft girl era, but because I was raised by a single mom and she's very strong, even though I want it, how do I get it? Because I have that drive too. I have that mindset. I have that thought. I don't need nobody. And that's how I was raised. But I do need somebody, And it's just that balance of how to figure it out because you almost feel like you're giving power away when
Even you don't want to be a burden. Maybe once or twice you have asked out or you have said, you know what, let me, step out and ask for some assistance. And then when you got it, it was exactly what you thought it was going to be. And it's like, it's confirmation. I've never done this. And when I have made the attempt to do it, this is what happens. So the last thing you want to be is a burden. Somebody, I'm going to do that thing for Monique. Or you match somebody's foot, it's Monique. That never, I don't ever want No. So if it means that it's going to take me an extra 2, 3, 6 months to achieve my goal because I'm doing it myself, you know what I mean? Then it's going to take that much longer. But you're right. Everybody does need somebody because I didn't get her by myself. So everybody does need somebody. But it's like six in one, half a dozen in the other. You know.
You want this?
And then I think that sometimes when we do get the opportunity to live the soft life, or you have somebody that's willing to support you beyond what you're used to, we don't even know how to accept it. Because I've been in a situation where I had somebody that I was just like, no, like May said, you're not taking this from me. I could do this on my own. You're just her, and you're her because I want you her. And then I don't like giving people the chance to say, I gave you that, or you owe me. No. Let's hold on. I did this. This is mine. Am I any? Tiana. So that's a problem to that saying that sometimes we just genuinely don't know how to accept it because again we've been conditioned that we have to provide, we have to lead, we have to do everything on our own. And like I don't want to have to, but I have no other choice. Like in the foreseeable future, I don't see no other option. Right? I'm always gonna be this person. Maybe one day I won't have to be, but right now this is what I want to be. So this is who I am.
Yes, ladies. So many different perspectives, but yeah, I like it.
So, most of you are moms.
Yes.
What are you doing different than what you were brought up under?
Well, I'm going to pass on this question because I don't have any children. So my opinions will be presumption and assumption. So, like I just said, I'm going to pass on this question because I don't have any children. So, my advice would just be coming from presumption, assumption, and just seeing what other people tend to do with the children. So, I'm going to pass it to the mothers on the table.
Okay. So I know I was raised by a single dad because I lost my mom at a young age. And I was born in the 70s, late 70s. But I remember being raised as seen but not heard. And very obedient. You did as you was told. And wasn't given the opportunity to either express myself or to share how I may feel. Because you was just told what to do and you did it. So I knew that when I became a mother, I was going to give my kids a voice to tell me what happened in school, not let the teacher tell me and I just go with it, to tell me what's going on in their life, not what the village told me, and to just go along with it. So I've definitely made sure I just gave my kids a voice, a much more bigger platform than I ever had as a child. So, yeah.
For me, I don't think that I have done much things differently. I just live my life differently. I lost my daddy at a young age, so I had my mom, but she had her own personal struggles. But as a parent, like she was top tier. And as a parent, like I always look to how she dealt with things. Anything is the way we live. But like she said, I give my son a bigger platform. Now he's free to do whatever he wants, and I support him. I'm extremely supportive. I have rules. I stand on business. He knows that, and I think he makes it easy for me. But I don't really do too much different than how I was raised.
That's beautiful.
I don't really have much to say on this topic. I would say I'm a lot less lenient. Yeah, my mama was super strict. I was terrified of her coming up. And my kids just, they're not scared of me. And I don't know why, because I feel like I'm a crazy parent. They're not scared of me enough, and I don't understand why, but I am a lot less lenient. I try to, like Dante said, give them the voice to speak on things. I think, like, coming up also, I don't remember my mama having the whole talk with me about sex and stuff. Like, now I'm definitely, with my 15-year-old daughter, constantly drilling different things in her head on that topic. And I really don't remember my mama having that Mama, why didn't you have that conversation with me? Mind you, I had my first kid at 28, so I think I did pretty well. But yeah, I'm a lot less lenient. Like, I was terrified, and I think the kids today, they're not scared of their parents enough. Because my children be testing me, and not just my children. I see the children in the community, period. These kids are not scared of their parents like we was. My mama would come up Berkeley and beat me, and embarrass me.
My children, no, don't do it. I'm crazy. My son said it.
Because what you're not going to do is embarrass me.
What you're not going to do, and I'm getting embarrassed in first.
What you're not going to do.
So I don't really have much to say. I'm kind of new to this. My son's only 2, so I'm just going through that whole toddler trying to figure that out right now. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
terrible twos are real.
They are. They really are. So
Means no.
and I can't remember what my mom did with me when I was 2 to even be able to say I'm doing it different. So I can't really.
You see that the early
Can I just
stages.
add to this? I know, like, for me as a parent, I always said that I wanted to be better than my parents, right? Until I actually got there. And the reality is, like I said earlier, I don't want to be much better than my parents when it came to parenting. Other aspects of life, absolutely. But we always say, I want to be better, I'm going to do better. But what better looks like?
Exactly.
Whoa, look at all of us. So clearly they did something right, right? So that's one thing I had to take back, like, as I'm going on the years. I've been doing this for 16 years. And it's like, I don't want to be better than my mama. Donna done a good job. My Aunt Sherry, they done a good job. My Aunt Margaret, they done a good job. Because I had a community of people that raised me. You know, I had a serious village. And they have done an awesome job. So I don't want to be better than them. I want to be able to emulate them. And maybe hope that my son turns out to be better than I was.
Yes, 100.
Big up to my dad.
He did a good job.
All our parents.
All our parents,
All our
for sure.
parents.
That's all we got her.
Absolutely. We're just doing it different.
So for me, the dynamics is completely different because I grew up in. For me, the dynamics is completely different because I grew up in the system in foster care and various homes across the islands of Bermuda. So I have various examples of different things. So for me, overall, with my son, I wanted to make sure that I had a free space for him to trust me and to hear him and know that whether you was right or wrong, that you could come to me and talk to me. I didn't want what I see now that I'm 43 years old is Bermuda is stamped with a lot of people that have been through a lot of traumatic experiences and trauma. And there's unresolved trauma that is very prevalent in the island for the simple fact that I can go back to what this young lady said about be quiet, sit down, do what I say. This happens in this house. Be quiet. Don't tell our business. Shut up. Sweep it under the rug. It happens next door to Sister Nettie too. And so I didn't want to put my son in that space where he felt like, shut up, sit down, be quiet, something's going on. I didn't have a voice. So I wanted to make sure that my son's voice was very loud to me and not me listening to what other people had said and making an opinion and going off of that. So I definitely wanted to give him a safe space and allow myself to actually listen. I wasn't listened to as a kid, so I say it differently. Allow yourself to listen to exactly what he's saying. Don't try to speak before he's finished and hear him out.
I love that. I love that. And that's that.
Sorry?
I'm going to let's go, Charlotte.
Okay. All right. You didn't say nothing, did you? Yeah, just say.
Well, she said she was the first person to say something.
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't feel like I need.
No, you don't, because I didn't speak on the
everybody
first
did.
subject. I know.
Yeah, everybody kind of.
Yeah.
One quick more thing too. Also showing just something that came to my head for overall for everyone and advice too is also being compassionate towards our kids and showing them that we have understanding, and even in our correction, we're understanding that listen, this happened, you did this wrong, but letting them understand what they knew they did wrong.
What's your thoughts on a good man? What do you consider a good man?
You, babe.
All right. Well, one thing, he always smells good.
Community Communication. Lord, I'm
Mom,
so sick of lack of communication.
Take the mic. Take the mic.
Mike, Lord, get over there. Communication. Communication. You must be able to communicate effectively.
And you see that that's not happening?
No, it is not. I think men really lack communication skills. Seriously. And I'm speaking from a personal point of
This
view.
is the man that you date or just man in general?
Man, period.
That's a good question. That's a good point.
Well, maybe
because I
maybe
think
it's the
it
ones
is
I
the
date.
man
I
that
don't
she
know. I
dates.
shouldn't say I date.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be the man that she dates.
So, I was also talking to T about this earlier.
I mean, y'all,
Start for a conversation.
I mean, y'all,
Am I not?
And
y'all done had a whole
I
conversation.
have a son. And I can be honest, before I had a son, I used to think the old saying, men are from wherever, Mars. There's
And
something, I don't
women are
even think they're
from
from, I don't
Venus?
even think they're from Mars, they're just somewhere else. But what I am understanding with my even son compared to, watching my godchildren that were girls and stuff, they generally process different.
Yeah, they receive
Man
it
process, they see the world different. So sometimes as women we feel that they don't communicate, but their communication is different from how we communicate. And it's understanding the man that you choose and how they communicate, so then you can work with them. Because again, we are the mothers, right? We're the nurturers. And I've just learned, and like I said, I'm new to this. I've only been a mother of a son for going on 3 years. But even watching him and how I have to communicate with him, it's teaching me, which is even making relationships better. Just in understanding, okay, you see the world different. Just a little joke. Even when you tell a man, look for something, we can see it a mile away. When a man's looking for something, you look. I don't know where you look, but
Yes, the ketchup is right there, honey. The ketchup is there.
Or maybe
my
they just
son,
don't look, right?
but
They
my son
don't
at 2, I can literally be pointing at it, and he is looking somewhere else, and I'm saying, look where mom is pointing. We're just wired different. That's all I have to say about that.
I not find one of those yet, so don't ask me. I'm still looking. I'm raising a good man. How's that?
Yeah.
That's good. Yes, that's good. That's good. That's
We
good.
definitely have good man. I have a great man, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
I have a great man. And
All right,
even though
Cheryl.
communication is always going to be challenging, it's not just challenging with him. It's challenging with my friends. It's challenging with my coworkers. It's challenging with everybody. So, and despite it all, he's still a great man. So,
And I think it also comes down to finding a match as well. You have people that are total opposites and they like each other or are attracted to each other for the wrong reasons. So, you're trying to make it work, and from get-go, this, red flags, this is not going to work. I don't like, how he carries himself, but you continue on until you eventually catch feelings, bad feelings, but you catch feelings, and then you find yourself in that circle. So, first of all, you need to find out as a woman, what you want. I heard you touch on communication. In some relationships, that's not an issue. Somebody leaves the house and they're going out for the day. That couple, in that circle that they're in, it works for them. It's like, oh, honey, I'm going. They don't even ask where they're going. And I look at relationships like that. I'm like, wow, you don't know where he's going or what time he's coming back. She's like, what's the big deal? And then you have the flip side of it. Well, where you going? What time you coming back? Or why you going? Why you didn't tell me? Or I'm not coming with you. So it's a matter of when you're in a relationship and you're starting out, and you should have the conversations of what trigger you. What would upset you? What is your normality? What is chaos for you? When you may talk to this person, you might find out that your normality is his chaos. So how are you going to be probably and move on in that relationship when you're on the different sides of the fence? And then it could be the flip side again, because opposites often attract. So you could be make oil and water, and they're like this. Totally different. Completely different in personalities, charisma, everything. But they gel, they just work. So it comes down to, and then again, it comes down to nature versus nurture. How did you see the man in your family treat the women in your family? And is that something that you want to happen to you? Or on the flip side again, you never saw that. So you really don't know how to be treated from a man. You know what I mean? I come from the land of, a guy was coming to my house back in the day. He couldn't toot from outside. You had to come to that door and knock. You have other generations where it's cute to pull up and pick up your girl. Toot, toot. I'm a 70s baby. You have to come knock on that door. Good evening. It's Monique and we're going out tonight. There's no pulling up and waiting, music pumping outside. But in some dynamics, that's perfectly fine. The people in the house don't need to know who's outside. So again, it just comes down to, you know, who the person is and how they go about, you know, who they are. Yeah. And then ultimately,
You imagine the process when you see the red flags and enough is enough. 5 years in and you missed all the red flags.
did you miss them or just did you miss them?
I don't think, I don't think you missed them. I didn't miss them.
Ignore the red flags. And then you get so frustrated that you explode and then you're out.
But most times
why
by then
do we
you're
do
comfortable too,
that?
right?
Why do we do that? Because we as men do the same. Well, I'll use myself. Yeah.
I mean, but most times, but when you get to that point, you're also comfortable. So now it's like, do I just let this go because this ain't it, or do I lack in my comfort too? Like, so it comes with a lot more than that by the time you get to that stage. And I think that's how a lot of women get, or men too, for that part, get trapped, stuck in these miserable relationships because you ignore it.
Or are they settling?
Yeah, it's not even a trap.
Because a lot of
It's
times-
settling.
Do
It's
you know,
definitely
not to cut you
settling.
off, But do you know how many people, or men and women, I'm heard say this one statement of, I don't feel like starting over. I don't feel like going to the beginning again with a girl. So if you would settle in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, going home every day, miserable, because you don't want to stand up in a relationship, work on yourself, and then go find somebody that's a better match. So many people would rather settle the years, and that comes down to self-esteem.
Being independent.
Self-esteem. That comes down to a lot of internal things because you can be by yourself.
It's a lot of contributing factors to that. It's not just
a lot of our grandmothers and grandfathers.
They settle. That's it.
But here's the thing. Here's. But and that could be possible. But I also look at older relationships, and I find that older relationships don't tell us the real. We have this perception, right, that your person is supposed to just be perfect and match you. And I have a good man too. Honesty is something that's for me. I believe what I believe. I'm not going to get into that tonight. But truth, a man being able to be his truthful self and be able to pour it all out in front of me and let me know what his struggles are, who he is, what he wants, what he loves, what he doesn't. That to me is love. You know, and I feel
Intimacy. That's the
right,
difference
and
of
I
intimacy.
And at the end of the day, yes, I have the choice to accept it or not to accept it. But if I choose to accept it, then I'm going to ride. Because this is what I want. This is what I asked for. Because I've dated other people and I've never gotten it. So for me, I feel like...
Communication is not one of those things, you know, because you talk about that. Right?
So I
Like,
feel
you know,
honesty and communication are different. So
it's absolutely different. So
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. Like, say for Abby, communication was like a red flag. But you're saying like, well, I pride myself on honesty and this and say like Monique said, what's good for you may
it's
be
not good for the...
Yeah,
but that's factual. We're all different people. And I
Right.
think that's the other dynamic that we need to understand too. That what's good for you is not good for me.
Right.
And we have this perception that because I wouldn't accept it, that you shouldn't
You
accept it.
shouldn't, right? So I have a problem when you call it a red flag,
Yes.
and it's orange, maybe yellow for me.
Or purple.
It's not
You know?
always a red flag. So I hate that. It's just like, oh, like you said, oh, you're gonna let him walk out the house without. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I'm good with that.
Exactly.
You're taking your energy or
Right.
your negative,
Right.
and you're trying to put it on me. I'm good over her. We're good. You know, so that's that. What's up?
Right, but that's probably
What's
because
the
of
audience
past,
saying?
because of past situations. That's
I
put you
wanna know
on
what
that.
they're saying.
You know what I mean? So,
What's the feedback on the audience? What are they saying?
Can
We see that. Let's address some of their questions. And, okay. I'm sorry. I'm saying, you said
there's a trend, and you had the question. There's a trend of a lot of women supporting their man financially, buying clothes, feeding them, let you drive in their cars. Why is this trend so prevalent today?
Because girls are stupid. Straight up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wait. What was the question again?
It's a trend out there where there's a lot of women that are supporting their man. Let's put it
I
that
feel like we're open during
Yeah, I don't think it's a trend
Okay.
today.
It's
It's definitely been happening.
I'm been doing it, but if you're doing it now in 2024, you're dopey. Straight up.
So here's the thing.
Dynamic. So dynamics. Why is she supporting him? Is he done now? Was he up and something happened and he's done? Do they have time in a relationship? Do they have children in relationship? What is he doing? Is driving your car? Is he going to do construction? Is he filling out job? Is he got your children? What is the dynamics of me seeing this guy in your car every day not working? Because there's always a backstory. We assume because we see him driving around that, oh my goodness, he's using her.
And why are we
but
concerned?
We don't really know.
I think
You
the
know?
real question: why are we concerned?
And we wouldn't,
Why
we
are we
wouldn't
ask-
ask. We wouldn't ask you real because we
Right.
don't have enough balls to go to the person and say, well, why a man's driving your
Right.
car? Because ultimately it's none of our business, and we know that. So instead, we would sit back and we would assume / presume of what we think the dynamics is in that relationship. Right, exactly. Right. Exactly.
It's in my name, but he paid for it.
And then it could be a matter of he is taking advantage of the situation, but that's something that female needs to work up within herself to gain her self-respect, dignity up to put her end to it.
Yeah.
We can, sometimes you have to live and learn. These females have to go through the fire and get burnt to realize, you know what, that was a bad decision. We don't know what he's feeding her. We've all been in love. We've all had them sweet nothings in our ear. So, we can believe anything from pillow talk, right? We might want to support. She might be blind for the first 1, 3, 5 years. We can't knock her for that or blame her for that.
Or
She
quite
needs to-
possibly she's seen that from her mom.
Exactly. Again,
And
nurture
so-
versus nature. What
and
they've
so
seen.
It's
okay.
that you're talking about generational curses being broken. Sometimes they're not.
Right.
And so this is what my mom did.
Right.
This is what
I've
saw.
seen.
So and it was
But then
it
to
was
take
it was
step
a key.
further, it's to even say, even if you saw your mom doing it and you're doing it, what makes that a problem? Because we say it's a problem.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
So
mean?
they
Like,
don't- they
so
don't deem that
it-
as an issue.
So we say it's a trend or whatever.
There is no right or wrong answer.
Everybody follows
Yes.
different rules.
Absolutely.
What we think that part is inappropriate, they do on a day. Like, oh my goodness, wow, how could they behave like that? But it's not regular, it's their normality. So it comes down to, to each their own. And you
And one
choose
of
to
my-
engage in it or you choose to disengage. Sometimes you disengage from people when you see that behavior. It's the same, it all comes under the same format.
And one of my favorite sayings is, "It couldn't be me." Exactly, it's not.
Right.
So don't care.
Right.
Exactly that. It couldn't be you. It's not you. That's why it's not you. Exactly.
Okay, well, Tanisha has something to say. Because she said she's got something different, and we want to hear what you got to say.
So growing up with this world, right, we saw the man in my generation of growing up providing for the women, taking care of their homes, even if they had two, because back then they had a family in St. George's and a family in Somerset, but they took care of it, right? So we can look at it from that perspective. Then I have the other perspective of where we're saying the males are driving around daily with their females' cars, the females are at their 9 to 5. You have the situation where he's got the side piece driving around in the car while the main girl's at work. And so then we go into the part of the taking advantage and the abusive side of that. So we can look at that perspective, right? And then we look at the perspective of the enabling on both ends. Are the female enabling him to continue in the baby that is doing because I keep giving him the keys every morning. And I know that my friend keeps on tapping me saying, girl, I see him on Coach Street, girl, it's got TNN in your car while y'all here at work. So then you have that side, and so we could definitely look at it from a lot of different perspectives. And like it was said, there's no right or wrong answer. But growing up, for me, I used to see a lot of that where I would classify them as we classified them back in the day as the high class or the Hasidic females that carried themselves in a different manner from other females, and they had their 9 to 5.
What are they called again?
Sadidi, Hasididi. And versus maybe your ghetto girl or your rough girl, your back of town girl or your hood girl or just your average street girl compared to them. And you had scenarios where, no, we're creating enemies or we're creating wars over stuff that these people chose to do. And like you said, it was none of our business from the first place. And we created all of these problems. It was something that at the end of the night when I closed my door, Bob and Tina's not in my house and the car's not parked in my driveway. You know?
I spoke earlier of that independent woman. It makes it 6 figures. You know, a lot of women are moving up the ladder. I don't knock you for that. Moving up the ladder, got their own car, their own home, designer clothes, 6 figure digits. What's your thought on that particular woman?
Well done.
Right, well done. It's well deserved.
And I would like to network with her.
I would like
Right.
I would like to network with her.
Good for you, sis. Like,
That's not our opinion. That's great.
as we should, like, women deserve to live a good life, and they, yeah, equal playing field, know that. So as you see women taking strides in the workplace, like, that's exciting.
And climbing the ladder.
Absolutely. It's like, it's time for you men to know your right for real and cool out and just let us come to
What is a man's right for real?
It's time for you not to take care of the children and clean the house and cook the dinner and do the laundry.
Again, that comes down to
like,
I do that.
to each their own, because I don't. I definitely want the man to be the head of the house living. I do. I definitely do. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, and he's the provider. He's the head of the household. Provider doesn't mean he's financially taking care of everything, but he is the head of the household. Something breaks, honey. You know, the roof's off, honey. Something structural-wise going on, honey. Now it comes to designing the house. Hello. Cooking, hello. Cleaning, hello. I'm old school like that.
Me too, though.
And that is come from what I've seen. You know, my grandfather, again, he had 2 families. And what you said here, I didn't realize until I got older. But with 2 families, I didn't know he had 2 families because he was a provider.
Exactly.
You know, my stepfather, a strong provider. So, you know, my aunt's husband, a very strong provider. So all the males in my family, they took care of him. So that's something that is very, very number one on my list when it comes to a man. Finances, I think when it comes to that, as you always have someone that makes more money. You got 2 people, very seldom do you have 2 people making the same. You always have someone that's raking in more and someone that's not. So you can look and say, I may be the person raking in more. He may be making a moderate income. What do? Make him go get another job to make his wage up to mine and keep him out of the home? You know, just to say, well, my man's handling this or my man's handling that. So I think, yeah, you sit down as a couple, you two, not you two and your ace girl, or you two in TikTok, how they said to do it, but you and him sit down and say, this is what we want, how are we going to get there? But it shouldn't be a matter of making him stay out of the house 18 hours a day to work, just so you say, well, my man's bringing home this, but it's not him. There's no substance in that relationship. You know what I mean?
I have a question there. How do you guys feel as women? Shut up. No, like, how do you guys feel as women being the breadwinners in your relationships? Like, if you were the breadwinners, does that make you feel a way towards your man? I feel like some men are very intimidated by strong women.
But for them to come to your level, that means they would have to get another house, or they would have to go to school, get another job, and then that could cause them to be out of the house double amount of time. And then where's our marriage going if you're working 18 hours a day, 6 hours? You're just trying to come up when we have it. You know, when we have it. I don't think a lot of men can handle that. And then that comes down to, is that somebody you want to spend your life with who feels that the less than, I chose you, I married you, I bred for you, we're living in a house together. You're definitely the one. Exactly. So, you know, we might have to put him on someone's couch so he can get his self-esteem up to know that this, you know, this is okay, because society has told him that he has to be the man breadwinner. But to do this, especially in these economic times, that man's going to be out of the house more than he's in the house. And that either short or long term will lead to problems.
Absolutely. Snap. Period. Let them know.
And regarding degrees, I feel like if we look at society and how it's set up, you know, when you have a good man and has a provider, and we look at back in the day, if you want an older man, they learn trades. So when you're working a trade and you're doing a job, you know what I mean? You're going to make a different income from someone as us as females that were able to go to university, go to college, go. So I just feel that you shouldn't be intimidated. We both have valid positions. It's just because of where the society is at right now and finances that you might be making less, I might be making more.
But he would know that from hello, so he should retreat immediately if he
Yeah.
suffers from that. If he
Yeah.
meets you and you say, listen, I'm a CEO, I have 3 businesses, this is what I do. He should immediately be like, okay, sis, well, you're very beautiful, and I'll check you later. Because a lot of guys would retreat. So for him to engage in that, those may be the waters he wants to enter. So it could be growth awaiting for him. Men are intimidated, but it doesn't mean they don't want a woman, I wouldn't say better than him, because we don't, the stronger qualities in him to bring him up. We as women bring man up. You know, a lot of guys say, I need a woman to keep giving me that swift kick in my tail. Without my wife, this wouldn't get done. This wouldn't get done. So Adam and Eve, like, we are here to complement each other. You know what I mean? So, like, again, 6 and 1/2 dozen in the other.
Guys, we had a comment on the live from Dinsmore Young. He says, not Dinsmore. Men are supposed to be strong and lead. We are supposed to be providers and protectors of our women and family, done in a spirit of love. Unfortunately, Bermuda has far too many weak men who have no clue about what it is to demonstrate the ability of a real man. The woman is to be his helpmate. Unfortunately, the spirit of feminism has caused our women to be in competition instead of completion with us.
Get on.
Who wants to go first?
You.
I'm gonna you can do this. I get on Facebook in real life, right?
What's your thoughts on that statement?
Does anybody really feel like they're in competition?
No, why does it have to be competition? Because you lack the ability to lead, and I'm able to do so. Instead of me completing you, now we're competing, we're not competing. I'm
Leading
picking up
in
the
what?
slack.
Leading in the household, leading in the finances, leading in what? Because leading takes on so many different realms. Right. We need to know exactly. He needs to break it down. Leading in what? In the finances. Right.
Mr. Dinsmore, can you break it down when you talk about leading? What aspect are you talking about, and providing what? Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't say you got men that are followers and men that are leaders.
Right.
That could be a legit statement.
Right.
But that does not
But
make.
man, is it?
But that does, because I'm a strong person, right? I naturally lead in my friendship, everything. I'm naturally a leader. But that don't mean that when I do find a man, I'm going to be competing with him. If he's able to lead too, I have no problem dressing back a little bit. It's not competition. And if we're both strong, we might bump heads a little bit, but then we're going to find a way to make it work. Why does it have to be competition? Why do I have to dilute myself to make you feel better? And if that's what you call feminism, then I think you need to revert back to the dictionary, babe, because that's not feminism.
But you have this man that thinks it should be 81 alpha, right? So
Yeah.
they have that attitude.
But then they should gravitate toward those mild, meek women.
Yes.
You wouldn't approach someone like, see, any one of we ladies, because you can see from a mile away we have aggression and dominance. So they wouldn't come to us. They're going to go to someone that's more humble, someone that probably would be a better match for themselves. You know, and then again, it comes to opposites attract. Very seldom do you have two aggressive people. You know, you don't have two aggressive people in a relationship. It could be hell or high water. You usually have somebody with a more passive personality. They might not be super passive, but you always have someone willing to lead. They could be the guy just allowing her to lead because it's easier, because you don't want to argue that night. All right. Well, when he's ready to put his foot down, that's believe. Tiana's like, okay, all right. Well, do you know what I mean? And then other times, she didn't want to lead because he knew what he signed up for when he married her, or when he decided to become in a relationship with her. So again, it comes down to knowing who you pick. You know, you're not picking them because of, clout or how they look or what you heard about them. You're picking them because of,
How they make you feel.
exactly.
How you expect to be treated.
Expect to be treated. And a lot of women really, if you ask a woman, how do you expect to be treated, or what makes you happy, a lot of them can't really tell you directly. They tell you what makes them feel good. But when you say what makes you happy, what makes you, like, what will make you happy, a man do for you that would make you happy, bring tears to your eyes. They don't know,
Material.
Most of the time, it's material. Most of the time, it's got something to do with substance or money or something like that. It's very less to do with intimacy and personal. You know what I mean? So,
What's your thoughts on a high maintenance woman? Who is high maintenance? What is high maintenance?
What is high maintenance?
Milan, I can say this. Monique is high maintenance. Mary is high. Excuse me. Yeah, cause I'm gonna put you on the carpet, Miss Lady over there, right? I spend 4 days out of the week with her and most weeks. Every week she's got a nail appointment, her eyelashes.
And her
See
hair.
these braids?
And
These
her
braids
hair.
are probably need 3 days ill.
Yes.
And she's gonna get them done again tomorrow. Like, she is high maintenance. I thought she's these last like she's gonna come up with her brand new stuff.
I don't classify it as
Yes,
classify it as high
but these are all things that she could do on her end for herself. So if she wants to be high maintenance,
Yeah. I'm not mad at a woman that wants to look good because you want to
But
look
again,
good.
that comes from what you've seen. The women
Yeah.
of my life, very glamorous.
right, yeah, her mom
Very glamorous. I mean, you know, the women in my life, that in our household is very high up on the chain. Keep
Yeah.
taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? Not for everyone, but.
I mean, I feel like if I could do it on my end, what's the problem? I'm not
Exactly.
asking you to pay for no appointments, or yeah, I might just maybe, but you know, for the most part, if I can maintain my high maintenance, then I'm gonna be as high as I want to be. Whether you like it or if you don't agree with it, that's not my concern because it's none of your business.
Now, we see a trend out there today about it's more young girls now, disturbing behavior of fighting in the streets. And two of them, just last week, Thursday, there were 2 against 12. And it happened yesterday, so Abby said, how do you feel about this disturbing behavior?
Me personally, girls always been fighting because when I was in high school, I used to fight.
In gangs, in groups?
Yes.
Yes, me and my
We didn't
friends.
have thousands.
But anything
We
is
didn't have friends.
12 against 12.
Yes.
That's what Tom, bus
6
terminal.
against
Yeah.
1.
It was fights.
Yes.
But you know why it's so prevalent now? It just seems that way because we didn't have cell phones. These kids post, social media.
They put the phones up, they put the
Right.
Yeah, to record.
It sounds like a stage.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it.
So what do you think? I'm talking about
it's the
this
same
behavior.
thing
It breaks my heart to see it. I've been there as a mother firsthand and my own child experiencing it, and it breaks my heart. And I'm not even gonna lie. I was one of the people who receive it. You got to forward it many times, forward it to another chat group. Stupid. I would never do it again because when I saw my own kid doing it, it broke my heart immensely, and I hate it. And I see these children doing it in school. It's just like takes me back.
Why do they dislike one another so much like that?
I think that I don't have a daughter, I have a son, but I had a niece that went through this last year too. And when we went through it, she called me and I got up from my desk real quick, went got her, what happened? So she's telling me the story and I got angry because I'm like, wait, yeah, she's big girl, but she's also a gentle giant. Like, she don't shout, so for you to put her in this position, what happened? But I'm not also going to say, not my niece. So what happened? We're talking about. I'm like, what? Okay. So next day, this auntie got up and took her to school. And when we got to school, you have mothers didn't understand what happened, didn't know how the children act when they leave the house and all that. So I'm like telling these little girls, you need to tell your mama what really happened. You need to go in the corner and talk to your daughter before we go into this meeting. Because what we're not going to do is place the blame on the big girl. Because although she may have got over, although, you know what I mean? And when you sit down there, it's like, well, why you don't like me? Nobody had an answer. Everybody's just sitting around, well, what? Why don't you like each other? Last year, you guys were taking snaps together, and you all let each other stories, but this year, for some reason, you got a problem. And maybe next year, you're going to be bastards again. Why are you fighting? It's embarrassing.
At least with your hands, right? Because I don't mind fighting with my words. Throwing a little shade here and there. But I mean, it's been around since the beginning of time, right? Like Abby said, it happened when we were in school. We just seeing it because they were able to record it. Everybody's got a camera and a video to capture it, right? So, and it's not right. It hurts to see, somebody's baby being beaten by 6 or 7 kids. I personally can't even look at them, so don't send them to me. I don't want to see it, and I can't imagine one of mine going through that, being on the receiving end of being beaten by 5 or 6 girls, or even being part of the 5 or 6 girls beating on somebody else's child, So I don't even know where to start with breaking the trend or like how because it starts.
Know why they're doing it.
We don't know why they're doing it. It I guess we could say it starts at home, or what we're teaching our kids at home. Like I don't even know.
I never agree with that song.
I mean, but it does get said a lot, right? So not all the time. No, maybe not all the time. Definitely not all the time. But there are some. They are seeing it at home, and they're thinking it's okay. It is being encouraged at home. If somebody does that, then y'all get together and you do this. So I just don't know. I don't know how we stop it, but it hurts my heart to see it.
I think this generation too, they are so scared to walk away. You know what I mean? They don't want to be labeled as the I don't want to use the word, but right. So it's like I just actually saw a video yesterday and I saw the little boy walked up to the other little boy. The other little boy, he didn't want no parts of it at all. He was like trying to walk away, and the boy was still like. Eventually, once he was getting attacked so much, he had no choice but to
Defend yourself.
defend himself.
Because we're telling our kids, don't you let nobody hit you like
Right,
that.
but should he not?
Don't you?
Is he not supposed to defend himself?
Exactly. Don't you just stand there and do that? I mean, I'm between a rock and a hard place.
So how many
with
times
this.
do you get to hit me before I'm able to hit you?
Exactly. Or when you tell your kid, oh, it happened. I told the teacher. It happened again. I told the teacher. Afterwards,
Get tired.
absolutely. And you know what you're saying? He does this again. This is what I need you to do. Because there ain't nothing happening.
And just to that, it starts at home. I don't necessarily believe that statement, but I do from a psychological point of view. Just understanding that children learn from the womb. And I know that we don't want to accept that sometimes, but it's factual. Children learn from the womb. So when a child is angry, and we don't know why a child's angry, sometimes it's not been the last 10 years. You could have had that perfect household, or you could have said, I'm never going to fight in front of my child, I'm never going to have an argument, I'm going to teach them these skills to be able to communicate and whatever, but
are we?
not
What are we?
And then we
But
have
that's
generational curses
normal,
as well.
those are normal feelings. That's stuff that they have to endure in
no,
life.
and don't
There's a lot of people parents that don't do that, but maybe also our parents argue also situations where
No. I was just giving an example for the people that say, well, it's not my home because I do A, B, and C. Just saying that, but there was a time when you didn't have that growth and you didn't do it that way. And like you said, you argued or you threw stuff and you did things and not realizing that this child still saw that, even if it was from 1 to 2 or 1 to 8. You know what I mean? So now they're 18 and it's like, why is my child doing this? And you might have grown and changed the dynamic, not saying, yes, we're all going to argue, but you could have made a choice to say, when I argue, I want to go back to my child and be able to explain, this is what mommy did.
or what's the quality of the argument? Let's get to the meat.
Yeah.
You can have a healthy argument.
Yes,
a
of course.
husband, a wife, boyfriend, a girlfriend should be able to vent and express themselves. Or what are we saying? Are we disrespecting them? Are we being calling? Are we picking up things? Are we putting our hands on them? What exactly are they seeing? You should be able to see mommy and daddy have a good argument.
Yes.
Because that's something, like I said, that's something that they're going to have to endure throughout their life in their own personal relationship with friends or spouses. But that hurts a lot into what they interpret and take with them as well.
Absolutely. And
You heard this man's calling your mama this or him calling. I mean, that name calling is really, really lingers in a child's head long after the argument, even when they're back. My mama called my daddy this or my daddy really did this. And then it makes you kind of look at him or her, not necessarily different, but you see him in a different set of eyes, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely agree, and just wanted to touch on, so like I said, from a psychological point of view, and then also understanding, for me personally, I truthfully believe that saying, the sins of the father fall on the children, sometimes genetically. So even if your household is not, this child may be carrying a certain level of energy and anger, and you really don't know where it's coming from.
Exactly. Generational curses. I said that earlier.
Okay, so I'm glad that you went there,
Who's that?
Natty. Because for me, right, and I am jumping to some of my notes because I wanted to hit these targets and not miss it, right? So for me, the fighting with this generation of children, I'm not going to go to me. I would definitely put it out there that I've been jumped, I've been beat up, and I've beat up people. Let's just put that there, right? So let's get that out of the way as far as that's concerned. So I understand the dynamic of being bullied and beating people up because I'm not a bully. Okay. So in this generation of what we're talking about with the live videos going on, the young girls fighting, the fighting started long before they came to school. The environment that they continuously live in on a day-to-day basis is toxic environments of continuously fighting, yelling, screaming, being yelled at, name calling. They're seeing their moms in a single home. The moms fighting together with the children ready for school. The sisters are trying to help the mom and got the other 5 little brothers ready for school. And there's already frustration and fluster before I even entered into the gates at 8:30 at whatever school across the island that the children may be entering. So it's way deeper than what we're seeing. Also, I think that the dynamics and the culture also plays a role with the phones, being all on it, passing it around. You want to be in on what's going on. You want to be popular with the chat. You want to be the first one that knows that Bob got slapped in the bathroom. You saw it, Lola girl. You want to be in. But being in ain't always right. So then you have that.
Because they're doing it for the gram. They're doing it for the likes. They're doing it for TikTok. You know, they're doing it for World Star because this is what they're watching on
So
YouTube.
this is the peer pressure that our young people have to deal with today. That we didn't have to deal with.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So they're seeing it, and then they're thinking, you know, oh, when this happens, I want to be the first to record it. Or,
I
I
remember.
feel like that comes, some of the values could come from the hearing. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because you got some children that looking to find themselves. You know, the lowest, the completely lowest. I mean, I think we right, and I think we all of us, right? But I know some things. You know, you're young and you're in a situation. But if you remember that talk you had your mama, or you know what you've been taught at home. You know, like going in a shop and stealing. Well, you know better than stealing. The other crew, they have not had that structure. So you know not to go into the farmers and steal. You know that. So at 15, you don't need nobody telling you not to go steal because you know. So it's the same type of mentality. We're getting out, girls are going to get jumped. No, I'm not going to do that. Like, I know better. But that comes, I feel like all of that training comes from the parents. Like, you parents have a hard job with sitting down and talking. You know, you're talking and instilling these virtues in these children. Now, that's still going to go out and act out. I did. We all did. But more often than not, they will fall back on their teachings. Or hopefully, if they engage in that act, hopefully their conscience will be their guide for next time because it didn't sat right with their spirit.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? The other people fighting, they may have elder brothers that fight, that they got around and the elder sisters slapped up somebody. Or they heard our elder sister saying, oh, I'll slap that girl up, I see her. So the younger 15-year-old like, yo, my elder sister's going to do it, or my elder brother's going to do it. They see it. In the next household, you would never hear her elder sister say, because she's not about that life. She's somewhere totally mentally. So that other child doesn't see that at her. They don't hear their conversations. The conversations that they heard in the household are completely different than your ace girls conversations because it comes from culture, background, and what you see, what you're exposed to. You know what I mean? So you parents have a huge duty of implementing this stuff on children. Now, I'm someone, I had private schooling and my mom put a lot into me and I still went and moved a package and got locked up at 20, got a 7-year sentence. So I say all of that to say you're still going to do what you want to do. But I knew better. I knew, I was conscious about what I did and I still went and done it. But I had I had the knowledge. A lot don't have it. They just don't have it. And you only know what you know. Right.
And then I feel like the shame around fighting and being out in public and acting up is gone. Because like I said, when I was young, I used to fight. But after the fight, like, I wasn't excited to come back speeding next day. And I was like, oh yeah, Tiana, you just beat up Lisi. I didn't want to hear that. Like, I'm embarrassed today. Like, like. I've never had a fight with Lisa. Let's just put that up there. But it wasn't something that I was excited about. It wasn't something I want to keep rewatching and reposting. And even in my young adult life, when I've had a couple who I don't want to talk about it the next day. Like it happened yesterday. Can we leave that alone? Like I am embarrassed.
embarrassing, yeah.
These children don't get embarrassed by these types of things anymore, right? It's almost like the proud of it, and it's nothing to be proud of. Because I know, like as an adult, as I got older, I had some like really good people, like some that genuinely wouldn't even dream about being my friend because Tiana fights, Tiana's scurry, or you don't even want to look at me the wrong way because you think. And that's horrible because I'm really a beautiful person, you know.
And people have said that to me.
But-
That's her cousin.
Yes,
and,
and
and I'm like, they're like, oh, I know her. Y'all right.
But you
She
don't
has
know
that
me. You just
reputation.
know that, I used to be ignorant.
First impressions. First impressions. A lasting impression.
And it's going to follow you. And I don't think these young girls, they realize that, like, this is always going to follow you. Yes, it's been many years. I'm a completely different person. But to some people, I'm still street fighting Tiana, like, And I think there's the things that they need to be told. Like, okay, yeah, you won a couple fights from there, but 10 years from now, somebody's going to remember that fight. It might be somebody that's interviewing you for a job.
That's gonna be an HR
or somebody,
manager.
So if you can avoid it, avoid it. If you can walk away from it, walk away from it, because it's genuinely not worth it. I'm not telling you to go out there and get beat up, by no means. Defend yourself if you have to, but don't start fights. And when it comes to bullying, no, go it.
A whole nother
We're just going to do this real quick. I have a friend, he had this thing of calling me a bully. In one life, I was, but I absolutely hate that word. Like, honestly, you would really upset me if you call me a bully because I work so hard. It's a trigger for me, right? So I don't think these guys realize what it does, even as an adult. Like, and he thinks it's funny. He'll laugh and I'm like, stop calling me that. Right. I'm not a bully.
I believe that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like, stop calling me that, like, And then, but even if these are being a bully is something to be proud of, that's not something to be proud of. Because if you
Not
only
at
knew
all.
how you're making the people that you're bullying feel, you would stop.
Absolutely.
I think when we came up there,
a lot of times, they might have been bullied.
No, I was never a bully. I was generally just mean.
Right.
But I was dealing with other stuff too, right? But and that's what I used to do. I used to deflect on people that I thought I could. Even if I thought you could get rid of, I'm still gonna try bully because that's just who I was. But now in my older life, when I think about it, I hate that word. Don't call me no bully because I'm not a bully. But I have been. And if you used to say, Tiana, I'm sorry. I would apologize 10 times over. If I offend you, we're going to nip it right in the butt, And these are the things that I wish these young girls knew, because I think that if they knew, or if they could see life through like somebody like me, they won't even think twice about fighting and being excited to be fighting and being the toughest girl in that one. And because that's not cute. Yeah, that's not cute.
Nails you ripped.
That's embarrassing.
I'm telling her say the exact same thing you just said. Like, I wish I didn't see that happen.
Definitely
It is
experience and
embarrassing.
growth, right?
Doing it. It's just their time to do their things.
I wanted to jump back in and talk about with the fighting, and I believe that the culture of these young children today, it's their honest defense mechanism.
To what?
To fight. Over everything. I just heard Miss Soltis say that when she was in the meeting with her niece and they was asked, why do you not like her? No one could answer. So for me, looking in from outside, I can see they're angry, even when they just walk across you. And then even with some of them that I may know, I'm like, hey, are you all right? Oh, hi, Aunt Tamisha. And you could tell, like, some of them are very zoned out. Some of them are carrying a lot of different things that they have no avenue to talk about. So now that I got into school and it's some raw growing in one, because it's a familiar spirit and I'm already got fighting in me, I'm zooming into that. And I'm feeding off of that because that's already what I'm feeding myself. So now it's another problem. So now all the fighters, we're all feeding all of each other. We're all overheard. The children that's not fighting, we're attacking them. And then what happens? We go in the office, we talk about it. It's all on the videos, it's shared all around. And we talk about it amongst ourselves. And then in 2 weeks is another fight. So for me, I'm thinking that the different entities within the government, within the school system, within the counseling, the social workers, in my opinion, you guys got paid a lot of money and there's not a lot of work really being done. There, because there is a cycle, and there are patterns and there are behaviors that have been going on in this island that have been going on in this island for numerous and numerous of years, because I'm speaking from my own experience, because I was that person. I told you from the beginning, I grew up in the Birmingham and foster care. And so there's a lot of issues that were the same today, back then, and they're still not being answered.
I think
There's
that
still a lot of things are, let me finish, a lot of things are being addressed, but a lot of the root issues, we're touching surface. We're not going to root issues. And sometimes we're putting a bandage over something that needs complete surgery. We're not attacking roots. And so we start talking about generational curses and different things like that. So then we end up going into the spirit and spirituality, and where do we really lie within that with ourselves? How do we are going to actually get to those roots and help these young people? I personally would like to go into the schools and be able to talk to them. I would love to go into the Birmingham and let my living life be an example, because I'm pretty sure that they've heard different stories of Tamisha Smith being in the Birmingham and different stories, and I could show them that the road that they're going at 43, it wasn't worth it. At 43, when I look back, I should have made better decisions. People tell me, Tamisha, if you walk down the street, it's 17 hills. I fell in all 17 hills, even after I was told by 17 people.
And it's that part
Right.
right there.
So do you think you going into these schools is gonna, or Robert, is gonna make a difference?
So it's that part for me, and I'm gonna speak on it because I work there. So this is a day in, day out, and I will step back a little bit because I haven't been there.
You mean the school?
No, Birmingham. I haven't been there for the last 2 months. Sorry, been off sick. But outside of that, it's exactly what you said. It's you being there, and you want to come in and talk to them. So imagine being there every single day and talking. Every single, and I
don't want you to go far from right there. Let me just answer that part.
Because you said it too, and I feel like you're gonna say this too. Yeah. First of all, I hate this premise that because you're at Birmingham, you're wrong. So you're a bad child or something's happening.
Yes.
I too
I
live in
never said
Birmingham,
that.
and I want just like you lot need help, and then I feel like in so many words you're about to say it too. I hate the idea or the illusion that because you're at Birmingham, your circumstance.
Yeah.
I was at Birmingham because I was homeless at 13. You know what I mean? But I couldn't match up, this to me, but two girls that were there for the behaviors
Okay,
and
well,
stuff.
time out. Let me
Ultimately, I picked
let me
them up,
correct
but
you, because I didn't like that at all.
You know,
I was
I don't-
never in the Birmingham for being rude. I'm gonna tell you why I was in the Birmingham.
I didn't say because you were rude. Okay, we're not gonna argue.
No, it's not an argument. I'm just correcting what you were saying. It was a discussion. It wasn't because I was rude or that the court sent me there. Actually, I made a phone call and put myself in the Birmingham for being abused.
So what I was going to say is, at the end of the day, the children at Birmingham are just like the children in our homes.
Thank you.
It's
yes.
just like your son. It's just like your son. It's just
Absolutely.
like your daughter. It's nothing different about these children that are in Birmingham. They just live in a different environment.
Exactly.
That's all. You know what I mean? So all of that to say
And we need
that
to
it's
dispel
just
that.
like being a parent. And I think sometimes it's a little more difficult being in Birmingham because you don't have that. Even if you just have one single mom, or you had a mom and a dad, or you had a mom and an auntie, you have constant different staff coming in every single day that, if we're being honest, has different beliefs, has different, the rollover is consistent. You know, and it makes it difficult for the workers, but it also makes it difficult for the children. And I feel like sometimes that part is overlooked, that we are doing the best with what we have and what we can do, what government can do. You can't have someone consistently there every day to be a parent. We couldn't be parent on our own. So it has to be shifts. You know what I mean? So it's understanding, you know, we take a lot of flack and slack about, oh, but what are you doing there? What's happening there? What's this? What's that? No diss, but sometimes I feel like saying, but what's happening in your house? What's happening with your son? What's happening with your daughter? It's these same struggles. These same struggles you're having, we're having with 9 and 10. And you got 2. So ease us up.
I want to speak of the root causes that was touched on, because a lot of times we don't look at why this child is acting out. Now, this child could have came from the father being murdered 15 years ago. And they don't know how and why. So they got unresolved issues that they were taking on because of somebody. So we need to look at why. That's why I asked the question. How do we get solutions? How do we as a society, as a community, tap into this bad behavior?
I think
I'm thinking
I think as a
Well, for us, like someone that says that, lose that not my child mentality. Because I know a lot of, I don't have any children, but I have a lot of friends and I'm in a lot of spaces. But a lot of people have that, and my son will know better. My daughter knows what will happen, but really, she don't care what will happen because they're still making the moves that they're making. So I think that heals a lot of water.
And I think a lot of accountability is a big part of it too, right? Because the reality is we have these issues. We all know they exist, but we're expecting the social workers and the guidance counselors and the police to figure it out.
To
And
fix it.
if we just did our little part as a community, I think that we can resolve these things a lot easier, and it would take the burden off these guys, and then they can be more effective because they can use what they learned formally and apply to what we guys know naturally, and it would be a lot easier. But it's a lack of accountability. You know what I mean?
You can see her child doing something, but you can't correct her child
I was
because
gonna
she's
say,
saying, well, you
don't
can't correct my
say
child.
to
But
my
back in
child.
the day, if one of
That's
your
where you
mama's
got
friends, the
correction
lady
from.
who ran the shop, the neighborhood shop will come out, anybody that saw you acting out of pocket will correct you. They wouldn't put their hands on you. But hey, you children, you know better. No, it's a matter of, you can't talk to me like that. And these children will say, oh, I'm telling my mama. Because the mamas gave them this protection of, who said that to you?
Right.
Because they, again, they never done what it is, but that was said that was done.
Right.
So, and that's going to be a hard stigma to break because a lot of dominant parents have that mentality.
That's
That
true.
don't say nothing to my child.
Yeah.
Say it to me, call me.
Right, and so we're going to see the ignorance, can deal with it ourselves, and it's just good.
Yeah. Because we did have the village.
We had to do
We
it.
had the village.
And it was okay.
And no, there is no village. Because everyone's just like, I'm not going to say anything to the child because the parents are ready to then attack you for trying to correct what their child was doing wrong. Whereas before they were supportive with doing it, right? So, and I can't relate to Miss Smith beating me down and Mr. Jones and then getting him and getting a beat down. But they did say something to me.
Right.
And I did stop like a deer in headlights if Miss Jones may have saw me doing something like, oh man,
She was telling you that.
she's gonna say
got first.
she's
You got
gonna
that
say
first.
something, right? We had that healthy fear that it was
But
gonna.
today's children might even try to turn around and try to fight you.
That's the other part.
The level of disrespect amongst the teenagers or the younger generation today is going. You see things that we would have never thought of. If her mama said, "Give him 10, I'm getting him," I'm not getting. Don't worry about me.
Right.
I'm not like, I'm not cursing and
They cursed in front of us.
Yes.
I saw a scene the other day and I said, I said, this child cussing. Nobody else seems fazed by the fact that this 14-year-old
I'm not
was cussing
saying
in front
nothing
of
to
you.
him.
couldn't do that in our
I
day.
wasn't even
not
brave
saying
enough to
anything
spell out a
to
curse
him.
word. Like,
I was it's just certain
But
things you don't
calling
do.
your mama by her first name, like I would do that as a joke or to make your mama mad, but in like general conversation, I'm up there now. But I would never. But these children like casually like Tiana. Like, no, I'm not Tiana. If anything, call me Miss Soltis. Like, yeah, like it's the level of respect. It's going.
It's going.
And then that's just gonna speak to like these children's morals and all of that too, right? Because if you don't have respect, then you're not gonna have humility. You're not gonna have high morals, high standards, and that everything's just. That's why the social climate is what it is, because there's no real solid foundation. It's just like a freak flow where everybody's winging it, and then you got 1 out of 10 people that do have that, but that's not enough to really make a difference.
So how do we get back to?
How do we get
How
back
do we
to
get?
it?
I'm asked this in all three of my
She's gonna be
thus far.
surprised I'm gonna say this, but we need to bring God or spirituality back into the houses.
now
Like,
you're
you know, I'm not
Now
a
you're talking. And
highly
I was
religious
gonna.
person, but I went to church every Sunday right up until I was 16. When I was 16, I was given the choice. You don't have to go anymore, but you will go Easter and you will go, you know. But you don't have that anymore. Children ain't going Sunday school. Children ain't. Who still has youth group? Because when I was a teenager, youth group was a thing. Like, I wanted to go to youth group. All my friends, we all went, but you don't see that anymore. And it's going. You need to bring God back, or spirituality back. You need to bring that back. You have to have something to believe in, something. Yeah.
So I wouldn't agree with you. The things that we were told or taught, Sunday school, church, and what's made us what we are.
The general love.
we need to get back to that.
Yes.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel, correct?
No,
Empathy, love.
we don't need to reinvent the wheel. I just feel like, so like when we were coming up, yeah, we did have the church, and we walked to Sunday school as a group and stuff. But we're in a world where everything is at our fingertips.
Right.
And you can watch the service right here, right now. You know, so like it's not even that far away anymore. You don't have to get dressed up to go.
You can go church
don't.
online. You can go
You
church
can go
online.
church online.
That might be the problem.
It is.
Or it could be the
And that
solution.
could be the solution
But
too.
it's been her, and we're not.
But it
using
could be the solution. Me and the parents, we give our children devices.
Right.
I'm got a 6, 7, and so on. She got her own phones. I got the phones. 6 years old. My other daughter, she's now 18. She had her phone from 5 years old. So the same way how we can bring this, give them the devices and have their services right on the phone.
Yeah.
So we as parents have to do our role instead of saying, well, let them do what they want to do.
Because sometimes there's so much things, and I don't want to get into it, but there's so much things that may be going on in the church that you're not sending them.
But the church is not perfect. The church is
No, it's not perfect. But what I'm
the
saying
church is a place
that
for
we have a solution.
sick
If you
people.
feel like
correct.
Yes.
what's that?
The church is a place for
The sick. The church is the hospital.
Yeah.
We're not
spiritually,
giving it for people that are
spiritually
always
sick.
white.
Spiritually sick. We all fall short daily.
Right.
All of us. The church what? But the church is not perfect. No church is perfect. No man is perfect.
But because she
But-
brought up, we need to bring
Our spirituality,
back?
I'm
just
back
putting
into.
I'm just putting it out there that if you had an issue with the church or spirituality or just just kind of,
How to be able to experience with the church.
we have options now, options that we didn't have before. So when you talked about the church, when I came up, it was getting dressed in no pants, walking to church, being amongst the congregation, and we don't have to do that now. We can pour into them in so many other ways, sending them verses every day, and reading the Bible. You could pull up a verse right on your phone
Okay, good
nowadays
stuff, good
with
stuff.
the Bible app, and you could
So we
go
as
to the
parents, so we as parents,
services.
instead of sending your child to church, but we as parents can do our role to bring their spirituality in the house.
Or just open it to them. So they're not even thinking of using their phone in that capacity. Maybe some parents are not even thinking
Good
of
stuff.
using their phone like that either, right? So it's like it's right here. It's right here. The church is closer to us than ever.
Come on.
And the word.
is there, right? All you have to do as a parent is like make the initial effort. Just plant that seed, and you'll be surprised what your child might turn around and do 5-10 years later. Like just sending them church of his nana, and then wake up and he's listening to a podcast on a Sunday morning. They're talking about not Christianity and religion, but spiritual stuff, and it's like, okay, well, I'm happy to know that you're right. So, but you'll be surprised. All you gotta do is that little push, that little nudge. But it don't have to be you're in church and you've been blessed. You don't have to do all of that.
No.
By no means am I telling you to do all that, but you have to have something to believe in, something to keep you grounded. And I think that's the problem. We don't have much of that anymore.
And for me personally, I just wanted to touch on, I believe that spirituality and church are separate. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, and I can totally respect that. But spirituality is
Religion and
personal.
spirituality.
Religion and spirituality.
Good stuff.
And religion sometimes is carried by a church. So that's why I said church, but I should have said religion. You're absolutely right, Trevor. And I feel spirituality
One-on-one.
is exactly one-on-one, and that's
right.
what's going to facilitate us. That's what's going to hold us. And
Yes, sir.
it can all be different,
Yeah.
Whereas religion is right. I'm not going
We're not
to
gonna
get
repeat that. We're not gonna repeat that. Go for it.
I will. I definitely will, because there is definitely a difference between having a relationship with God, meaning the vertical part of the cross, the up and down, meaning you and God, and religion will take you straight to hell.
Not for everyone, though. That's not for not for everyone.
It may not be for everyone, but I'm standing on my position in my spiritualism, and I'm a Christian.
Right, from your experience, for your experiences, but for others, it may just work. Religion, that's a very touchy subject. You got to be careful how we talk about it. Bad experiences come, which will lead you to have the judgment you have. But I've seen religion do phenomenal things for other families.
And still
Phenomenal,
does, and still
phenomenal. So it comes down to your personal experience. I get what you're saying. We've all seen things happen in the church that we don't agree with. But to make that broad statement is a touch harsh.
But we all agreed that
I'm definitely that person.
we can definitely all agree with what Tiana said and bringing the church back to help as we bring it back to help with the this behavior these kids are showing and stuff, right?
I just want to
That's where it
piggyback on
started.
you said, like, case in point as far as religion or spirituality changing people. Like, well, people saying it's a fad. I don't believe it's a fad because I'm seeing it work. A lot of young men turning Muslim. Like, they just finished Ramadan, and the amount of young black men that you saw participating and stuff, or who now have decided that they want to follow Islam. Some people like, you're just doing it because you're friends, but both of the ones that I know, it has changed them completely.
And even if they are being exposed to
Yes.
to make the decision for themselves, so that's okay if you're doing
Yes.
it because your friends are doing it. They're being exposed.
So it's not always a bad thing. Like, it can be a good thing, and I'm seeing it happen, and like it's changing them completely. Like, and it's a beautiful change. You know what I mean? I may not understand it all, but they can educate me, and who knows? And it works for them. So while I'm not religious, go ahead, because it's working for you and it's making you better. Yeah.
Everyone's story is different. Everyone has a different story. Somebody might be Muslim. Somebody might be Christian. Everybody's story is different, but as long as it's start in the spiritual path within the self and whoever they're professing to, I think that's what it's about, growth, right? Because most people's going for guidance and growth. You should be coming out of that that space better than when you went in.
Next question.
And I was just going to say
I'm
that's
sorry.
that's on everything. I don't even feel that it always, for the ones that are not religious and not spiritual, this is why we have counselors. This is why we have life coaches. This is why we have psychologists. This is why we have sociologists. You know what I mean? You can always take a facet to better self and still bring that growth within you. If you just to touch on the people that don't have any religion or spirituality, not to leave you guys out.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, atheists too, non-belief, and absolutely nothing. All together, right? Me, no, I know. I love a joke. I love.
Hey, how many of you guys know people that like used to have up signs in the yard to say no Jehovah's Witness? My mama. I remember, right? My friend's Nana, Salvation Army. The Jehovah's Witness used to come to the house, and she used to get in the house and get her war cry and be like, "Well, let's exchange documents." And they'd be like, "Oh no, man, we just." She'd be like, "Well, then don't come here." But you're bringing her your little what's it, watchtowers?
Yeah.
She's giving you the war cry.
It's air conditioned. It's a night when I can't really.
I want to ask you about the prevalence of social media and our young people.
I think it's destroying them. I got
Do you have controls? Do you have on your children's phones? Do you have parental guidance on your children's phones? Because these
Social
children,
media for
let me show you,
everybody.
these children are so
Warped.
not even warped. They're so no, but at the same time they're so intelligent. Okay.
But intelligence, but the social skills
Don't
are
exist.
unsatisfactory. These tablets and screen time might be advancing them, but do they have balance? Because wherever you send your child, you're sending them with an iPad or you're sending them with this. These social skills of children have definitely dropped from when we were going to primary school or high school. And even for adults, people dating. Back in the day, you went to a bar with no phones. Now you go out, everyone's in the phone. Everyone's in the phone. There's no dancing. There's no talking. There's no sniggling. It's everybody standing up in the phone, looking around, and it's almost like, well, what are we doing here? What is this? Times have changed.
I think, and then social media has also created this like false ideal. So you're looking on social media and you see things, and then you want to emulate what you're seeing, and it's not like her teeth ain't real. She's
Right,
just got 10 layers of makeup on, and then
Exactly.
suddenly I'm not pretty no more because I don't look like you. But that's what social media too.
Yeah.
Or likes.
And
Or likes.
or for likes,
People
yeah.
caught up on likes. They posted something, they only
Yeah.
got this. You
So
know?
social media is definitely helping deteriorate our social fiber, and I wish they do be on TikTok. I genuinely do. Like the amount of time and ignorance you see on yes, I do, Abby.
I looked at you someday too, on
I'm a TikTok addict, but I could do without it. Like, I would sit up in my friends at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning
Yes,
watching
right.
stupidness
It's
on
not
TikTok.
One more.
As a goat. And I'm an
Just
adult.
blame it because it's us.
So imagine a child doing this that probably doesn't have a grand conscience and stuff yet. This is what's going to shape who they ultimately become.
That's true.
Right? So, yeah, so social media is ruinous. I love a little social media, don't get me wrong. I love Twitter every morning.
But anything in access is there.
Yes.
Even water,
Anything in
absolutely.
access
Yeah.
is there. Is there.
Next question.
That's
So we're going to open the floor before we sign off, before we go out. You want to just
Is
throw in
anybody
any of
in
your
the
thoughts?
comments at saying
You got some
anything?
stuff on questions and some things people have made it.
Ask the audience, do they have anything they would like to see us discuss?
To our listeners, if you have any questions or comments or anything you want us to talk about, just leave a little comment, and we would touch on it briefly as we got some time left. But somebody said, Bermuda General, he left a comment. He said, we had an arcade and dockyard. They took that. We had Canyard, and they took that and gave us that crappy track over Southside. So I guess essentially his asking, what do we do with our kids for fun if everything that is essentially given to us is ultimately taken back, or it can't sustain the economy because things are bad, times are hard. So what alternatives do you have? Well, when I was small, we used to go camping. How many families camp? Fishing. All of that. How many things still happen? I didn't know our kids would have fun. I knew that during summer breaks, I wouldn't even go camp 90 sometimes. I was home, and the boys on the hill, they made sure that we were all right. And we swam or we ran around, but we were okay. So we don't need arcades, and we don't need the track maybe, because that's like a positive outlet for male, or women too. But we don't need those things to make our kids happy or keep our kids busy positively. So that idea needs to be dispelled.
Mike, say something.
Yeah, and I feel, and I am maybe guilty of this too. It's so much things that we have to do as parents. We have to work, we have to clean the house, we have to wash clothes, we have to do this. Sometimes it's when you finally do get a break, and it's selfish, don't get me wrong, I'm not making it that it's right. But it's like, I would rather let my child sit on this iPad. I would rather let my child, it's easier, but we have to get out of that because it's easier. Because we signed up to be parents, and parenting is, and it's a different time. And I don't know why it's a different time, because like T said, we were able to just leave home and go.
But they can't do that now.
Right.
A lot of them can't do that now, and so sometimes I think it's comfort in knowing that they're home on their iPad or on their phone, and not in the streets doing this, that, and the third. So it's
outside was
about catching lizards and
absolutely
falling down, getting scratches,
making mud pies and eating.
riding from Somerset, Warwick, and then just before it gets dark, you're riding back Somerset and you're riding in packs. And now I've got a friend on Cedar Hill that I only see summertimes because we're going to take them rides, but you don't do that anymore. That's why that's where you come to division.
They don't, and that's exactly why.
Why we even has push bikes?
That's why they can't even ride a bike that they're seeing today, because they didn't even have the experience of a push bike.
Right. I feel like they need to
And
be
even in the
outside.
school system, I'm how the people used to come and teach you different things. They don't have that no more neither. No, I was just saying that when they were saying about the bicycles, where the 16-year-olds now, how many accidents they got in, because they didn't even got the experience of riding the push bikes through the tracks to your friend's house, going pick loquats, got the plastic bag laying down the side of my bike because I'm broke half the branch. They just don't have that anymore. Oh my God, I still have marks on my legs today from docking out on a push bike. I mean,
Some of these children even skirt to sweat. Like it's boring.
It's boring.
My kid is definitely not interested in riding it, but it's push bike. She wants to do lashes, like just online looking at how to do lashes. Like times have changed. I would have never dreamed
Times
about
have changed.
caring about doing lashes back then at
we
that
had our
age.
hand on our face.
I mean, and it's electric bike now, right? Nobody even push paddles. Everybody's got electric bikes. So, I mean, that's how far.
Janika, I think that's how she says her name, Janika Bryman. She says, what are some of the things the ladies do that is applied to their child's growth to ensure that they have a mindset to be leaders and for generational wealth? So that's heavy, sis.
Yeah,
I'm going deep person.
she's a deep person. She's very deep. She's a deep person. That shout out to Orchid Spa.
This was becoming real soft. I know y'all want to take it.
Yeah, but just when we were closing.
What are some of the things?
I'ma keep it.
Yeah, Annette, this is for you, baby. For you reference.
I have to speak from experience. I feel we learn from what we're taught. So we have to be what we want our children to be. So before we can teach them about generational wealth, before we can teach them about leadership, before we can teach them to be this amazing, great, carrying the baton and having this generational wealth and learning how to grow it and build it, we have to figure that out for ourselves.
Right.
So that's the best advice I can give is figuring out how you can get in a place to gain something, whether it be knowledge, whether it be ownership, whether it be anything of that nature, and then it can be taught by them seeing it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
And
I
telling
learned.
them too, and saying like, when I was 18,
Yeah.
I was doing this,
Yeah.
and your uncle did this, and this person did this, so that they understand what's their expectations,
Yeah.
right? So, and we expect nothing less from you as you get older, or even better. So, you know, and even though it's harder, we at least set a goal for them to attain. So if my kids knew, oh, well, at 24, mom had a house. So yeah. Anyway.
And just a little snippet. So like we were just talking about the children and how they can watch church and they can watch spiritual things. As adults, we can watch generational wealth. We can watch how to grow. We can watch how to invest. We can watch certain things so we can learn instead of, so there's nothing wrong with TikTok. It's nothing wrong with Facebook and, these other platforms. But those platforms still have the knowledge that we need to be able to get ahead.
Sophia Smith says, that's what I say her name? Sophia. Sophia Smith says, we, the parents, are failing our children. We want more for our children. We have gave them more because we want our children to do better. But in all, we have made our children very entitled. I agree. Absolutely, I agree. You have a lot of children that just get everything that they want, everything that they need, and don't have to work for anything. So we're essentially raising lazy adults. You can have a generation just lazy, useless.
With my beliefs, I believed in incentives.
Yes.
So my daughter had one child for 10 years, and then now I've got 5 children. Anyway,
Are you finished?
Before that, be nice. Before that, my daughter went to Work Academy, and I told her, you get whatever you get those good grades, whatever you want, you'll get. Not everything, but when they report card, name something, and so it was incentives.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in just giving just to give. You gotta earn it.
And they learn how to work, and then you receive. You get rewarded for the hard
Yeah,
work that
yeah,
you put
yeah.
in, and that's great. Because that's exactly how it works in the world. You go to work every day. And
You get
at the end
paid.
of the week,
You
you're
get-
gonna get paid.
That's right.
And
That's right.
the type of work you put in is you should get back. You go to school, you get these degrees, you do this, whatever,
That's right.
and to set yourself up to receive what you knew you should be receiving, or so That's how we should be
I
doing it.
was very spoiled, but I had to work for what I wanted. So yes, I did have a mother that would give me everything. You did come over my house. I was the child in the neighborhood that had everything.
Yes,
But
well.
it wasn't a matter of her giving it. If I told my mama this is what I wanted, she was really big on me earning it on my own. Whether it was cleaning the house or putting in work or anything, it wasn't about just getting it. So I think that you can blast your child, but you also should make them work for them. Earn whatever they want. Okay, you want a bike. Okay, so what are you going to do to get the bike? Even though if you know ultimately you're going to pay for the bike. It's been times my mom's made me work, shampoo her and doing all this, and then I turn around, come home one day and the bike's in the yard. I said, well, I thought I had to pay half. No, I just wanted to know that you knew what you had to do to get what you had to get. Now that money, you're going to take some, you're going to save it, and the rest you're going to do this with. So that whole year I was working in my head, I was working for the bike, but ultimately she was getting it. But what she was instilling in me, and that was something that carried my entire life. And then it was times where entitlement came in because she had shared this pattern where I thought I was getting it anyway. And Christmas would come and I'll say, well, where's, what I asked? She goes, well, you didn't come up with your half. But what? The deal was, but you didn't do that with this. So, you know what I mean? Things like that.
See, Daryl, accused Daryl said, growing up, we went and packed groceries. How I hear parents say, my child will not be packing groceries. They don't know how to be responsible.
So that is completely different. You have to have an interview at 10. I know it's too much. It's a lot. It's a lot.
But I remember packing groceries. I worked at Marketplace with Miss Brinkman. And you probably could have bought a bike at 16 from working on Saturday. Packing groceries.
Yeah, but these children today, they're making money. They're
They're making
money. Adults are not doing it like no.
I don't like the idea that adults get to pack groceries on times when children are able to. I feel like if, as an adult, you're doing that as a job, when school gets started at 3:30, if you have young packers, you need to knock off.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate.
That's a good point.
What's wrong with having an interview at 10? I was working at 12, and it weren't like a real job, but I understood the concept of work. You know what I mean?
And
So
that's
my godfather let me be in his law firm and watch how it worked at 12.
I ran a record
understood
store.
how a
I was working at
secretary.
11.
So
I was just going to say the same
not
thing.
everybody has the support. Their mama's working. How they got into this interview? She's working for a job. They don't have a village.
Right.
So the kids automatically turned off because his asked his mama, how you make just instantly shouting at him, so now they're turned off. So why? So it's made it harder for them where they could just go to Marketplace, speak to the manager themselves, take the initiative, and they're like, you need to go head office in town, run shopping center, and have an interview. Your mama's got to be with you, X, Y, and Z, and they don't have that support. That's out the window. Where before you just met there, and you was able to, you was able to speak to the manager.
These parents are working too.
Yeah.
Jobs right now. These mamas are working. I mean, grocery bills alone. I feel so sorry for these single mothers. So mothers, are out there working. So it is hard to have that mother say, listen, today at 11 o'clock, I need you in town to do this. The dynamics again have changed. Right.
I'm going to ask you before we close, because I don't think we asked, about what advice would you give to those moms that are dealing with these young girls and the issues? Back to that fighting issue. What advice would you give to that mom?
I'm gonna go first because ironically I had this conversation with one of my friends last night, and she felt like as a parent she's doing a bad job, and I'm like, you're not. What you need to do is give yourself grace. Like, give yourself grace. You are doing an amazing job. Nobody ever said it was gonna be easy. You're gonna mess up. Your child's gonna mess up. You're gonna feel like you failed, and don't take it on. Get up every day. Do your best. And then if your best ain't enough, then that's what you got us for. That's what you got godparents for and family and friends. But always give yourself grace. I think as parents, we guys are so hard on ourselves because like we said earlier, we want to be better than what we thought our parents were. But the reality is, what's better? You know what I mean? If your child has somewhere to stay comfortably, food in the back, food in the stomach, clothes on the back, you know what I mean, in good health, you're doing a good job. You can probably do better. We could all do better.
We could definitely all do better.
That does not mean you're doing a bad job. Give yourself grace. I had this conversation at 2 o'clock in the morning today. I'm happy that you said that. And she's like, what? I'm like, we're going to talk about the difference. And I might not got to call her when I leave. But yes, because I used to be like that, like, And they'll be like, no, your son's respectful, your son. And I'll be like, okay, cool. And I had to give myself grace. I had to learn that, yes, I may not be as good as a parent as Nat, but that don't mean I'm a bad parent either.
Right, about comparing you. Don't compare yourself.
Stop comparing myself.
You're not living in your truth, and not your children live in your truth.
Absolutely.
You're comparing, and that's why a lot of children have these anger issues, because they are comparing themselves with other people and what other people have going on in their lives, not knowing how they got X, Y, and Z, or what happens for them to get where they are, or anything like that. They're not understanding themselves.
That's my bit.
My advice would just to be keep the lines of communication open with your children. Create an environment for them where they feel comfortable and safe coming to you about anything. I feel like once you have that with your children, you can't go wrong.
I'm going to piggyback off of both from Tiana and Abby. I was going to hit on this too with giving yourself the grace. That was so beautiful, because that's exactly where I was going, because I used to beat myself up so much, and also comparing myself to what I saw other parents doing or how other children were being, until I start getting those things like Miss Otis was saying. Your son's respectful. Everywhere he goes, he uses his manners. Oh, it's this, and this. I had to realize those things that I was instilling in him when I thought he wasn't listening, he actually was listening. So continue to push your children. Continue to love on your children. Continue to show them that they are important. Continue to make safe environments for your kids, to be open and honest with you, even in the times when they are in the wrong. That is so beautiful, to have that space with your parents, that in my wrong, I can come to my mom and be like, Mama,
I messed up
we girls went on today.
and done this.
I stole them nails and the man took us in the back. Even though I know I'm about to get beat, I'm getting my bike scanning taken away, I'm getting on punishment. Matter of fact, my mom is making me go to the pharmacy, apologize to the manager. You know what I mean? So yeah. And love on yourself, mothers. Love on yourself. Self-care is vitally important to your wholeness and your wellness.
I think a lot of times when we are parents, we don't know what's sticking. We don't know if we're even doing it right, because there's no book. There's no book.
Trial and error.
And so we're going off of our own morals and values. And I just want to encourage parents to know that, they'll get it. They do get it. They do get it. And you got to trust the process. You got to trust that what you are teaching them, and there's good morals and values that you are teaching. Like, it's going to be okay. So my message is just a message of encouragement, because I know, I see my kids, and there's days where I'm just like, I don't know where they're going. We're all left in a space of confusion at times. And so you're calling this person and asking and comparing, and we do that, right? Because like I said, there's no book, but they're going to be okay. Just trust in what you believe and know that they are listening.
And yes, I just want to touch real quickly on the comparing. It's so funny, because sometimes the people we are comparing ourselves to are comparing themselves to someone else. You know what I mean? So it's always understanding that what you might see the next person do and think, oh, that's so amazing, or they have so much, or how did they get that? That person feels inadequate within themselves and don't even look at what they're doing as great. Which is another reason why you should never compare. You should just be in your own lane, trying. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with collaborating and having this open discussions and admiring and having this open discussions. Like, hey, how did you do that? I like that. But it's a difference between, like you said, admiration and, I guess the best word is jealousy. Yeah.
Well, like she said, giving yourself grace.
Grace, yeah.
I think that was like the
best way to put it.
it.
But then understanding what it means to give self grace. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody was so good. I was just, that they were speaking and I was agreeing, so it didn't make sense me jumping in. I was saying my little bits here and there, but just remember that we're all going through this for the first time. Everybody. everybody beside you, above you, before you, after you will live this journey for the first time ever. So what you may have seen your mother do, give her grace, like Tiana said, give her the grace. This was her first time being a mother.
Yeah.
Whether it was you was her second child or not, this is her first time being a mother to a second child. So just allow yourself, like Tiana said, that was definitely the best point you could have made, was give yourself grace, because everybody is doing this in their own time, in their own journey. This is everybody's first human experience in this realm. So just allow yourself to live through it. If you know you can't do it on your own, reach out to your neighbor, and that's what the village is for. It's going by the wayside so much, but you as yourself have to do it. You can't rely on other people to be a village for you. You see, as a mother, as myself, when I see my friends' children out doing something, I say something to them. If your mom wants to come to me afterwards, that's fine, but I'm going to let you know that I have your back at the end of the day. So if you can't talk to your mama, come talk to me. And I'm not going to run to your mama and tell her what we discussed, because I want you to have that safe space with me. If you want to go home and tell your mama that that's what we had, or if it was something that I need to escalate to your mama, that's fine. But I want each child should have a safe space. And same thing Tamisha said, a safe space. So allow your child to have a conversation or have a relationship with other people other than yourself if you feel that you cannot fulfill what they're looking for.
That was good. Because we end up messing with the process, with the kids.
I don't have any children.
Okay, so I'm gonna put all. No. I said we're winding down. We're winding down. But I tell you, but the space of time here. This is going to be for those that are watching, coming from each of you. What are your greatest challenges today, and what you're dealing with? Motherhood, huh? Motherhood, life.
Life.
Just say that. Say that.
I'm struggling out.
Yeah, do you ask for help? Who do you ask for help?
My mama.
Where do you get your help?
I have a support system. I have a small support system. I think my biggest battle right now is my entrepreneurship with my businesses. So I have two, and I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly looking for different ways to elevate, and it does take 25 out of the 24 hours. So with me, it's just a matter of balancing my career and my personal, and also my mental, because it takes a serious mental toll, staying on top of everything, to grow my brand to whereas I make money when I sleep. Fit and First Athletics. I'm a personal trainer, and I bring in health and wellness merchandise. I have a showroom at 41 Valley Road, Paget, just before the SPCA, where I sell fitness apparel, battle ropes, pull-up bars, you name it, I have it. So I do Fit and First Athletics. That's Fit and Fierce at Athletics at Gmail at website. I have, yes, I'm the girl on the back of the bus.
I think one of the things I am challenged with, and I'm trying to be more conscious about it, is actually I get so immersed in being a mom that I've lost myself with being a mom. And so you mentioned self-care, and I'm not just always a mother, so I'm challenged by that. And I have me, and I can acknowledge it, and I am working to not just be a mother 24/7, even though I am a mother 24/7. I don't, and wife, but like motherhood just takes over. Absolutely, I have many facets, but yeah.
I think one of my biggest challenges is finding balance, because I do a lot, and place some boundaries. I feel that I can fix the route, and I have to understand that I can't. That I need to sometimes put myself first and say no. I hate that word, but it's something that I'm gradually learning to use a lot more, because you can't pour for empty cup. And I would beat myself, run myself ragged, and then I have nothing left to give myself. So I'm really trying to find a balance and to pour into me a little bit more, so that when I do want to assure myself, I can give you, and I can be genuine about it, and you're not going to burn me out, and I'm not going to regret my decision the next day or whatnot.
Also, something that I battle at this age is tackling my faults, because we all have faults. We all have things that we know bring down our character. We don't always earn up to them. We don't always work to change them. But I know it's different battles and different demons that I battle within myself. Going into my 45th year that I want to change, but changing your habits is so hard. Changing who you are and things you've done and different paths of life that you've taken. So I also am being more deliberate and intentional on being better. Looking at my faults, looking at what I've been put on, looking at different things that people have said that all agree. My mom used to tell me back in the day, Monique, everybody can't be wrong. So if you got 10 people telling you a certain characteristic about yourself that you tend to deny, not necessarily because you don't see it, but you don't like the fact that they see it. Like the nerve of them telling me about myself. Sometimes you got to step back and look at what's being said and say, okay, well, how can I work on this? Because all 10 of these people can't be wrong. And more often than not, when it comes to your attention, you already know. When someone tells you about your fault, you might not want them to know you knew. But 90% of the time, like you're already looking in the mirror. You're saying to yourself, wow. And how powerful is it that I'm resonating that to or everyone, or my exterior, everyone outside is saying the same thing. So I think we must fight in different paths, but we need to, open up and say, no, we're not perfect. What got faults and, we're failing in different areas of our lives. Stuff that we wouldn't pick up if we tell our age girl, but we would lay down in bed and think about at night. Those things need to be addressed. And if it means I'm going to touch on something I know at the end, but it means, laying on someone's couch and getting therapy, that might be something we need to do. If it means removing that stigma of, she's going to a shrink or why is she, sitting up in someone's office, we have a stigma placed on that. Whereas they might go, oh, something must be wrong with her. And, not even to get on this and this, not the other color. They be putting their children into therapy from very young. They see different things happening, and they are started from 5, 7, 10, 12. Our color, we tend to be in denial about it, or we will say they'll outgrow this, or and right, and we ignore it. We ignore it until it's out of control, and then they're obfuscated. But we could have addressed it so much sooner.
And I was just talking about it. Sorry. It's so crazy that we'll put a stigma on it, but it's our color, especially in this island, that's studying it the most, We have an utmost group of social workers, psychologists, doing psychiatry or doing counseling or doing life coaching. But it's like, well, we'll study it, but we don't want to go and support it.
And we don't want no one to know that we're talking to a therapist.
Yeah.
It's almost like, it's taboo. Right, it's taboo, but that's what that person may need. You may need that specialist to give you different functions and facts to live, different tools to go about living your life. Yeah.
I think the conversation around therapy within itself is changing because you have a lot more people that willingly say, I go to therapy or I'm been to therapy.
Celebrities.
Or I went to therapy, but I didn't realize I needed it until COVID. And I think COVID was what made a lot of people realize, like, I may need some help. And it's before being embarrassed and all that, but you have a lot of people now that's open about being in therapy and
being depressed.
talking about
Depression's a real thing.
depression's a real thing. You can be depressed and not even realize that you're depressed. I think just dealing with your mental health on this island is a serious topic, and I think it needs to be addressed more than what we're doing.
We can talk about it next time.
I think it is being, these insurance companies are not recognizing it.
Yes.
They do, mental health days.
But then what if I can't afford insurance? What if I'm not insured? Then where do I go?
Problem, which is part of the problem. I do think there are people that probably want to go, but as always, there are so many. Bermuda's so expensive. I was gonna let you hold it. It's so expensive for it's not affordable,
It's not affordable. How many times do we do out? How many happy hours? How many open? How many fashionable? Is it really not?
It is. Well, I'm saying this
Even
from
if it's once a month, $150 once a month. We mash up $150 almost every week.
but we may do that. But then there are, like you said, okay, you need to wrap up.
So I just wanted to answer the question that you had asked about what do we find challenging in our lives. So for me right now, at 43, my challenging thing for myself is being authentically Tamisha every day so that I am not forfeiting the people that I love because I've been selfish for many years dealing with my own demons and not lived out my authentic self that I sold the people that I love short. And so I'm working on being authentically Tamisha.
And we're gonna end it on that.
Being authentic.
Thank you, Trevor.
So we want
Waters.
to thank we want to thank this crew here, the 35 to 45-year-old group. I want to thank you. Thank you for I'm gonna put that age bracket because you're all anyway being a good
I'm the youngest. Let's just put that
being
out.
being good.
Keep saying this.
We want to thank you for joining us tonight. We want to thank those that gave a lot of statements. There's a lot of statements, and this will stay up, and I'm sure you all are going to look at it and critique it. I want to thank one of our supporters, Roman Trucking, that support TNN Network, Women's Talk around the round table. Thank you, Abby, for gathering a crew. You know what I mean? It's been real. It's been enlightening, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for supporting TNN.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Kamita.